welcome back to Justlivin Designs podcast. My name is Shannon, and this is episode number 46. Today is August 7th, Thursday. It's almost 11 in the morning, a little later. I've just been busy trying to get everything back in order around the house. Quick thing, we were out of the state for funerals, and I'll talk about that at Life Stuff. So if I don't seem chipper, sorry. But I wanted to get on and just give you what's been going on knitting wise, because this is my knitting podcast, knitting and crochet. I have crochet today. I am an independent knitwear designer. You can find my patterns on Ravelry, Payhip, and Lovecrafts. I have Ravelry itself linked down below. And then I have a link tree that will take you to the other two sites. Mostly socks, but there's a whole plethora of patterns if you would like to check any of those out. And I do knit a lot of other people's patterns and other designs. And that's why I wanted to have this podcast. It's been going on for a while. Coming up on 2 years, I think, this September. So, yeah, it's just a good way to show you guys other designs, yarns, showcase local makers to me. I'm here in Montana, and project bag makers and all the fun things like that. All right, so I'll start with July yarn stats, because I do try to pay attention to what's coming in and going out of my stash. It is getting smaller. I can see holes. I'm looking over at this side, which has like most of my sock yarn, because if you've been here before, you know I knit a lot of socks. And there are holes showing up in there. They're not packed as full as they used to be. Back here is more of the sweater quantity amounts. And there are, there's space for once, that's kind of nice. So yeah, last month of July, I had 704 grams out of my stash, and I did bring in 730 grams total. So almost evened out, not quite. And then out of that, I made, let's see, 4 pairs of socks. I finished my tee. I was practicing a crochet square, and then I started a crochet blanket, which you'll see later, and then also the cozy memory blanket that I'm with the smaller squares that I'm making, which I'll show later. I take those out. Each square gets added out individually, and I don't even do an estimate. I actually weigh the yarn before I knit it and weigh it after I knit it, because I'm anal that way. And I don't they all take about 5 grams. I'll take 5 grams out of my stash. No, I'm exact. Some are like 4.1 grams. Some are like 5.3 grams. So it just depends on the yarn, how much comes out. But that's just the way I am. All right, so that's the stats. I'm going to go on to some FOs. I finished a few things. Then whips, acquisitions. Then I'll do the reading, watching, life stuff, and at the end. So if you want to stick around for all the life stuff, that's fine, but you don't have to. It's kind of sad. All right. First off, I think these were cast on last time. I do believe they were. Yep, this was my only whip last time that I showed, I think. So these are the Nordic winter socks. Do I have tags? See, it'd be nice if I was 100% ready for this. I'm mostly ready, but not 100%. Let's grab the tags that are relevant. Okay. I think that's it. All right, so this was from Rose Hill Yarns. I think I bought it last year. She does like a club yarn where she'll release it as like a sock set, and then she'll like do tonal mini set and the variegated mini set where she kind of deconstructs the colors. And then she might even sell like 50 gram sets. I'm not sure how all the sets do, but this one was called Nordic Winter. It was last December's. It came with this purple mini, but also like a cherry red mini, like a deep red mini. But I decided, my daughter picked the purple. These are going to my niece, who is the same age as my daughter. So it's a Christmas present. This is my trusty top-down sock design. You can find, it's a cheaper pattern, $2.50 on all my sites, but It is a great pattern for just a go-to sock recipe for a heel flap and gusset. It has the garter edge heel flap, which is a fun detail. It's written just for stockinette stitch, but I put a 1x1 rib for the cuff and a 3x1 on the leg, and did contrast color for the cuff and the toe. If you're knitting for gifts socks, it's great to do a ribbing sock or a texture that kind of sucks in, because it's more forgiving for different foot sizes and will stay up on people's legs better. So a little friendly hint from me to you. But that's one finished object, another Christmas present done. And then I finished these on, well, I finished them except for Kitchenery and the toe on our drive back to South Dakota for all the funeral stuff and family time. These were the yarn that I pulled out for my July mystery yarn club for myself, where I pulled out at the beginning of the year, I pulled out either sets or single skeins of yarn to work up some deeper stash every month. So this was same pattern that I used, so, and same way, where it was the trusty top-down sock with the contrast here and here, 1x1, 3x1, but these are more of a shorty size for my daughter. And this was Round Mountain Fibers Alder Fingering in the colorway Garnet. It was just a 50-gram skein, and then I used, I think this is, I've had this skein forever, Knit Pick Stroll Tonal, which I don't believe they have anymore, and I think the colorway was Gypsy, so there's a little bit of tonality. These are for my daughter. She loves purple, and actually, after I Kitchenered them, she grabbed them and just wore them this last week, so she wore them before they were even washed. They have been washed since, because when we got home, all the laundry was washed. But yeah, so these are another one. I do link all the project pages down below, so you can go see all the details. I usually try to write in there if I do any differences, like the 1x1, the 3x1, all that type of stuff, the size that I knit. This pattern, like I said, is great for lots of sizes. It has 9 sizes, all the way from like child up to large adult, like circumference, and then you just make it as long as you need it. Yeah, so those are 2 sock finished objects. And then, like I said, I made this little practice square. And it's going to be a coaster. Sorry, don't mean to... This one I made, so this is the linen stitch, crocheted linen stitch. And it was TLC Yarn Crafts. It had a little like tutorial on her channel for doing it in the round. And so I tried it in the round, because I'm used to doing granny square type things in the round. Because I'll talk a little bit later about this pattern that I'm working on. And I just didn't really enjoy working this one in the round. You can see that those, when you do crochet in the round, there's got that going on. And I also was using fingering held double on a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. And I just thought it was a little stiff, because I was going to turn this into a blanket. But it's perfect for a coaster. So this one's going to be a coaster. It was just me trying. These are leftover yarn scraps. But yeah, so that's a new coaster for the house. Because it did not turn out the way I liked. But I tried. So that's all my finished objects, like I said. So 2 socks and then that trial square that ends up being a coaster. You can always use extra coasters. Whips. I'm going to start with a pair of socks and then go on to 2 blankets. First off, after I finished that garnet sock in the car ride, I cast on this sock, which again, same sock pattern. I'm just using my trusty top-down socks again, so it has that garter edge. And this one I'm just doing all one color. And I did a 2x1 rib at the cuff, and then I'm just doing stockinette for the rest. And this is yarn that I think I bought either last Halloween or the Halloween before. I can't quite remember, but it was Bumblebee Acres Fiber Farm, And it was from their Halloween collection, like I said, either last year or the year before, Oogity Boogity. So it's a Nightmare Before Christmas yarn. And my little charm that's on him is Zero, the ghosty dog. This is from Charmed and Dangerous. He actually glows in the dark. I love him. Very themed. And so I decided, like, it was the end of July that I casted this on, but I wanted to get a pair, at least one pair of Halloween socks going. So it was this pair. And these will probably be for my daughter, even though this kind of yarn is a little bit, she's tougher on socks and it kind of felt a little bit easier. So she's planning on mostly having it as a house sock more, not as much in shoes. And this is in a bag. I love this bag by my friend Jane. Rose in the Wren. That's her tag. She had this last Christmas or last Halloween season, and I just love the cats. And she always does these fun patchwork type quilty bags. I have many. So that's my one sock whip right now. I do need to cast on another one probably before too long, and I also need to finish a sock design and get it out to testers. I just haven't been there mentally to do all that yet. Next blanket I'm going to talk about is the Coziest Memory by Kemper Ray. I casted this one on this summer to use up more sock yarn leftovers. And since I didn't show this last time, like I said before, it's been 3 weeks since I last recorded an episode because we were gone last week. But this is all I've done in the 3 weeks. Not a lot. Or 5 weeks, because I don't think I showed it. I didn't show it last time, so I haven't been working on this nearly as much. I did put on this square last night. So I've added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares. I've slowed down. I'm on the, counting, 5th row. There's 14 squares across. This is actually knit to pattern, so it's US 2s with the stitch count that she does. I'm just picking up my stitches. Maybe I'll link the video that I have on this channel for how I do the pickup in the garter. I need to remember to do that every time. But yeah, it's gonna be a memory blanket for my daughter for when she goes to college in 2 years. So I have time. But it's 14 across, and I would like to make it at least 16 to 18 tall. We'll see how it gets, and then I'll put an I-cord border on the edge when it's all done. But it's fun. The squares don't take me very long to make, less than an hour per square. I usually do it while we're sitting on the couch watching TV at night. My daughter and I have been watching some shows together. She doesn't know this is really for her yet because she doesn't watch my videos. So it doesn't have to be a secret, but I'm not announcing it. All right, next one is a new blanket cast on. And this one is where I was doing that linen stitch crocheted square. So it was, I think, Legacy Fiber Arts. Chelsea and Sue were talking about this a couple of episodes ago, that they started this, and then Sue and her friend, I can't think of her first name, from Treehouse Knits, they have like a floss talk channel thing that they do. I think it might only be on Instagram. I don't know if it's on YouTube or not, but they started a crochet along, and it's a scrappy blanket crochet along. And a lot of those two themselves are making this pattern. And this is by Little Woolly Makes. I can't remember what her actual name is. I will, I'll have my project page linked down below. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's basically just how to make the square. And then you can seam them together however way you want. And it's made for a DK weight yarn. Some people are holding fingering double. Some are, you can change your hook size to get the type of drape you want on it. I crochet fairly loose, kind of like how I knit. Both are kind of loose. So I'm using the recommended hook size, which is a 4.5 millimeter, and I'm using DK weight scraps and or mini skeins. I have a blanket going, my DK jelly roll that I haven't really worked on, that I'm pulling yarns out of there because it would be nice if I don't reuse yarns in that blanket, but we'll see, you know, how much I get. But I also have purchased and or had in my stash some DK weight mini skeins that I could break into for this. Plus my daughter mostly knits with DK weight yarn when she's making gift knits. So once she makes like a hat or something, I can steal her leftovers to put in this blanket. So yeah, that's the pattern I'm using. And here are all my squares thus far. All the ends are woven in. It's just that I don't snip them until I block it. And I think the designer says something about you don't have to block these, but some of my squares are just slightly bigger than the other ones, so I'm gonna block them. I think I'm gonna get one of those blocking boards that have like pins that are meant for crochet blocking crochet squares. So it's kind of like just a pin board that's has set, I don't know. But anyways, that's how I'm gonna gonna try to block these. I ordered one. And if it works out, I will link it below. But yeah, so this is in order. These ones are all done in July, and these last two I made in August. But I'll go through all of them for you guys, and I'm gonna go in order of how I made them, because so far I still have them in order. So this was my very first one. I think all of these are leftovers. So, and you can see that it's all right for my first one, but I'm going to still use it. All right, so that's number one. Number two, I love this one. Got a little bit better, but there's a little bit of funkiness over here, but that's all right. And then we start to get a lot better with my technique. But the reason I like this one better, so it's a log cabin square, but you start with the center square and then you start a new yarn, and you can do different colors on each section like you would in a log cabin. But how she did it in the pattern and how a lot of us are doing it is each round is each little square is a color. And so you're always knitting flat. You're going back and forth for this side and then this side and then this side and then this side, and then you pick up and do this. So all these are back and forth, so it's not knitting or crocheting in the round. It's always crocheting back and forth. It makes lovely little squares that lay nice and flat, and you can kind of see the difference between the one I tried in the round and the ones that are flat. Every time I show this, I won't be so detailed probably, but I'm just going to go through the rest of I love this one too. This one's great. Some of them I like a lot more. Some have sparkly yarn. I don't know if you can tell. That one's a nice one too. That one's kind of funky. I like that. Some are really bright and some are not. This one's really bright. And this was the last pair of socks I made for my mom. My mom passed away 4 years ago, almost now, and those were that's leftover yarn, so that one's special. And then this one I made when we got back from our trip, and then I made this one yesterday, and I love this one. It's very fall looking to me, without the like super browns and stuff, but just it's very fall. So yeah, that's my new blanket project. So I think now I'm up to 7 blankets. I don't know, it's a lot. I have a lot of blankets going, but that's okay. They're all long-term projects. Some might get done way earlier than others, and that's fine. I have a lot of scraps, and it's using up the scraps. I told family recently that I was like, okay, we're gonna get to the point where we have too many blankets in this house that are handmade, so people will get them as gifts, and they all are like, that would be fantastic. So they all are very happy about that. All right, so that's all the knitting and or crochet. I do have a little bit of acquisitions here. Let's get these out of the way so I can get down in here. So my local yarn shop, the Yarn Bar, I think the trunk show is going to be wrapping up here shortly, but they had a trunk show from Forbidden Fiber Co. For some fantasy series. So she had the Fourth Wing series, and then she also had Actar as a theme. So she had those two themes, and I bought my daughter, it's already in her stash, it's a DK weight. I think it was one of the Actar colorways. If I remember, maybe I'll put, I think I have a picture. If I have a picture of what I purchased total, because I think I took a picture of everything together, I'll put it up here. But this is the one I got for myself. It's a sock yarn, Gluttony sock, and it's called Quest Squad. And I loved it. It's, you know, very moody, but then there's even hints of like, I thought there was hints of purple in it. I'm not seeing as much in this color, in this lighting, but it's very, very pretty. So I like that one. And then I also picked up a set of Happy Bee Progress Keepers. And it's more of the romantic-y type. So my daughter's gonna take the wings. And I don't know if those are supposed to be fairy wings or butterfly wings, but she's gonna take that iridescent one, and then I'll have the other two. So they had that there as well. I also ended up buying some, I think 4 DK weight minis from Emma's Yarn that I already wound up for in my blanket, the crochet blanket. So like I said, if I have that picture there, you'll see those minis. But I did purchase some of those because my yarn shop has a lot of her DK smalls, which are her minis, for doing all like the doodles and other things like that. So if I ever run out of DK weight yarn, I can go in there and find a few more colors to use. I did also get, I think this arrived in August, so it was a little later than it has been arriving, but we had our mail on hold, so it was even later for me. My Freckled Whimsy Nature's Palette August club came in, so if you haven't seen yours yet, look away. But here is August's club. I'm getting it on the Splendid base, which is an 8515. It comes, I'm getting it with the mini, so it's a 25 gram mini, 100 gram main skein. These are self-striping. This one was an 8 stripe repeat this time, and it's called Walk in the Woods. It's very pretty. I've been enjoying this club. I do gravitate towards moodier or nature palette-y colors, so it's been good. Yeah, so that's all the acquisitions. Let's see. Reading. I'm still reading Wool. I haven't been, it's the first Silo series book from Hugh Howey. I'm enjoying it. It's just that I haven't been up for reading at night lately. I've been either tired or just not being able to focus. So I have been not reading as much. I am listening to Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune on my Libby app. That is going to go back here shortly because I haven't had as much time to listen to it this last week with us being out of town. So I won't get through it. So I'll have to like renew it to finish it later, but that's okay. Or not renew it. I'll have to check it out again later because there's too many people waiting for it. Watching, we watched with the kids, or no, with our son, because our daughter wasn't around. We watched Flight of the Navigator. I loved that movie when I was a kid. I didn't realize that it was, what's his name? Pee Wee Herman, the guy that plays Pee Wee Herman. Can't think of his name right now, but I didn't realize that he was the voice. But when we were watching it, I was like, God, that sounds just like Pee Wee Herman. Very, very same type of energy, voice, and even what he said for the little robot guy. Or not robot, but space alien spacecraft guy. Mac or whatever they call him, I think, in the movie. So yeah, that was interesting. On the credits of the movie, it's a pseudonym. It's not, I can't think of his actual name, but it came out the same year as Pee-wee's Playhouse came out. So then after that, the next night we watched an episode of Pee-wee's Playhouse. On one of our streaming services, they have all the episodes for that, and with our son, and we're like, this is the type of shows we watched. And he's like, this is crazy. I'm like, yeah. And I didn't realize that Lawrence Fishburne was a character on Pee-wee's Playhouse, but he plays like a cowboy, and it's hilarious. But yeah, we were even screaming for the magic, the secret word or magic word or whatever they call it. I don't remember what we were screaming along like we did when we were kids. It was fun. My daughter and I, we had finished watching, what was that show? Ballard. And we had decided to watch Bosch, and I think we're in the second season of Bosch. So that's what we've been watching together. And then we watched as a family Sinners, because that came out, was that on HBO? I think it was on HBO. They released it on that streaming. And I would have loved to see it in the theaters, just didn't get to it. But it was really good. If you like supernaturally type shows, and yeah, Michael B. Jordan did an excellent job in that movie, and a lot of very good actors, good music. Just it was very good movie. I enjoyed it a lot. And then I watched the series, what was it, on Netflix maybe? It was a mini series, Untamed, which is a kind of like federal agent / rangers investigating death in Yosemite National Park. So that was very interesting. I enjoyed that as well. Okay, life stuff. So we were back to South Dakota this last week. Just over a week. We were there for just over a week for my husband's parents' funerals. We did it as a joint funeral since they passed away together. This was the last, so my husband has 2 siblings, and the last time they were all together was 2018, because my sister-in-law lives in Scotland, and so she doesn't get home as often. Plus there was the COVID years and stuff, and it didn't work out to come home as often. So this was first time in like many years that they were all together. So we spent a good week together. There was, they passed away from a house fire, so there was no home for us to gather in. There was it's a small town community that my in-laws were very involved in. An area near one of the towns, because it was 2 different towns they kind of are involved in. They had a store in one town, the church in one town, and then they lived in another one. Near one of the towns, there was a hunting lodge that caters to people that pay money to stay there and hunt on the land. They offered their place. It had 6 bedrooms, so we all could gather and stay together. Had a kitchen. It was great. It was wonderful. So we had a lot of family time, along with dealing with all the emotional stuff of everything. But yeah, so that was a lot. It was just a lot. It was good and bad. But we drove home on Monday this week. And it's a good drive time. It's over 9 hours, but you're on the road for over 10 with stops and everything. So it's a long day. And yeah, it's just been trying to get everybody back into things. So yeah, that's the big thing. Within that time, shortly before we left, my daughter was offered a job. She had applied to a bunch of jobs this summer, and finally was offered one. So she's going to start working a retail job here shortly. But while we were driving back to South Dakota, my former employee, I used to work at a vet office. She had shadowed there earlier this summer, because that's what she wants to do when she grows up, is be a vet. And they were losing some workers, and asked her if she could fill in for about a week or so before her other job starts after we get back, so they could fill the positions that are leaving. It's not a good job for her to have during the school year, just because she's not they're open when she's in school for the most part, not when and not on the weekends and stuff. So it's not a good job that she could work at during the school year. But she worked there Tuesday after we got back, and I think she's going to work again today. So that's exciting for her. And they're showing her some of the stuff under slides and other things like that. So it's not just helping out with the like manual, like holding animals or doing stuff like that. She is doing, they're trying to get her behind the scenes on it a little bit more just to show her stuff. So that's exciting for her. And then my garden was exploding by the time we got back because we were gone for over a week. We do have like sprinkler system, so we had it running like every day on the garden just so it didn't dry out because we are dry here in Montana. And you have to water things if you want it to stay alive. So my raspberries, I picked a ton of those. Some were beyond ripe, so they just kind of smooshed in my hands. I got to go pick up more of those today. My cherry tomatoes were booming, and I picked a bunch of those. I have some early tomatoes that get about maybe this big. 4th of July tomatoes that were, I don't even remember how many I picked. A good handful of those. My cucumbers just went crazy in my garden, so they're taking over one of the gardens at this point, and I have some cucumbers that are almost ready to pick. I need to get back out there today and take a look at those. Our green beans, a lot of them, we picked a ton before we left and ate a lot of green beans, but there's still some green beans growing, but some of them are way beyond, so I might see if I can take some of the big ones and dry them out so I can use them to plant next year. We'll see. See how it goes. Gotta try anything, right? And then what else is there out there? The carrots are booming, but they won't be ready for a good month or so. I haven't really checked on them, but they usually take a nice long time. Strawberries are still growing. I have some in a pot, so they're still going strong. But yeah, and our peppers. I picked, so all those tomatoes that I picked when we got back, I also picked a couple peppers, one of our jalapenos, and then we have a Santa Fe. That's another spicier pepper. Picked some of those, and I made a garden salsa last night to go with some tacos that we made. And that was quite tasty. Just a fresh garden salsa. There's a little bit left over. It's in the fridge, but we'll eat that in a day or two. I make canned salsa every year, which I will once the tomatoes really come in, but a lot of times our peppers are done by the time the tomatoes come in. So I end up having to buy peppers because ours, everything grows at a different rate. But with the garden salsa that I can make with the little tomatoes is kind of nice to just have a fresh salsa made, homemade, quick salsa for tacos or quesadillas or whatever I'm making, fajitas. But that was quite tasty. So dinner tonight, I think I'll have a garden salad. So I'll probably add some tomatoes and maybe that cucumber that's almost ready in that with dinner tonight. So it's nice to eat out of the garden. That's the whole purpose of it. I love to garden. I love to be outside working on the gardens, but I don't really like to weed. I should, but I don't. But I love to eat out of the garden, and I love it when I can stuff out of the garden. So, or freeze. I do freeze some tomatoes and other things like that, or sauce. I generally don't can my tomato sauce if I make some. I freeze it. But yeah, so that is probably all the life stuff. Like I said, it's just been, it's been sad. People have been sad. My kids have been sad. My husband's been very sad. But gotta get back to the normal, gotta move on. So that's kind of the stage we're trying to get into at this point. It's just kind of moving forward. Yeah, so I think that's everything. I should be back in 2 weeks. I'm not gonna like come back in a week to get on my normal schedule. I'm just gonna do 2 weeks because I just don't work on enough stuff. Especially right now. I haven't been, while we were away, it was hard for me to even focus enough to knit. I barely knit while we were there. I did, once everything started to happen with the, like Thursday, my father-in-law had a grocery, my in-laws had a grocery store in one of the small towns. And so the last the day before they had some of the visitation and the funeral and everything like that, they opened up the store. And ever since like that kind of happened, I wasn't able to really craft even while we were away. I didn't have the headspace even to do that, which is weird. I usually do, even through times of turmoil. It relieves stress, but I couldn't even do that. But now I'm back home and in my space, I'm getting better at being able to do that. So that's good. It helps me get through some of the stuff too. Knitting and crafting is amazing for that. Using your hands, it relieves stress, relieves tension, and helps with mental healing, I think. And fidgety, which I'm fidgeting right now. Sorry. I didn't. Anyways, I hope you guys had a good 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, I should say. It's been 3 weeks. I hope you have a good next 2 weeks. Summer's starting to wind down. I know people are going to be going back to school before too long. My kids won't until after Labor Day. So we have a little bit time left. I would like to get up to the mountains at least one more time for at least a hike. It'd be awesome to get up to the high lakes for a canoe trip. We'll see how everybody is doing. I think it would be good for our family to do that. But see if I can get it going. All right. You guys do well. Keep knitting, keep crocheting, keep doing it. Just keep doing. All right. I'll see you guys soon.